I love the skin. I love the icon skin that you have.
The icon skin.
Yeah, the body intertwined with the serpent of Kama Sutra and the. Oh,
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh man. So we are here. We are live. We might have no viewers. We might or might not, but we will continue this podcast. And today we have Julian Uribe, and we are gonna be talking about what is it, Julian Uribe? I already had kind of like a topic, but what are you feeling today?
I'm feeling all types of energies right now, and I'm thankful that I'm on this stream right now, via powered by Streamyard. I'm just saying that out there, just because I don't want to get sued or clusterfucked. Anyway, we're over here, and if I seem too loud, I'm gonna. I think this is the optimal voice pitch that I need to accomplish, and we are here. We're talking about things, anything, and this is the point of the Freddy Show, the pseudonym, if you want to partake. Um, so yeah, I'm doing fine. If that's what you're asking. We have any great stories? Do we have anything that we want to talk about? Is there anything out there that's huxtable enough for these listeners?
Kind of. I guess I'm kind of bringing into the current events, man. What's the current event with you, or what's going on in the world? I mean, what what do you want to start? I was gonna start off with like Afghanistan, Taliban, politics.
Hmm. I don't know if I'm coming in clear. That's the only thing is I don't know if I'm coming in clear at all. I don't want to be muffled, so I don't want to scream. Yes, these current events. Yes. What is it you want to talk about?
Well, the most current event right now is the hell just happened? What's been going on the
Hello,
uh,
hello.
yeah, I hear
Here we
you. Can
go.
you hear me?
Oh yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I audible when I talk like this? Am I audible or do I need to speak up more?
I hear you.
Okay. Okay. So, all right then. Here we go again. Okay. Yes. So as of right now, the country of Afghanistan has now been unleashed with the powers of what we would so call the Taliban.
Mm.
So what we have here is a cultural dispute amongst a country, and it has sought resolve. And the country of Afghanistan will always be in turmoil because it is a country of conflict. And as of the past 4 days, we can see that there is a lot of hostility there. Not enough to cause war, not enough to cause indiscretions, but we see aggression in the country. And I don't approve of what Biden has been doing of this situation, but the overall choice to leave Afghanistan is a great choice, a really great choice. I think United States manpower can be utilized everywhere else, and it's best utilized in its home base. And the Taliban have just created themselves another target for us to go and zap on them. So we just
Well,
pulled out our salt.
the
I'm
news
sorry.
is that apparently he's extending, um, taking out the soldiers, so it's not going to be anytime soon. Apparently.
Of course not. That air base is being succumbed to every kind of forceful entry. So a lot of the thing is that it's not just Afghanistan and United States there. You have all types of nations there. So the UN, Britain, a lot of NATO representatives have been extracted from there. Um, I don't see any Russian or Chinese results because they're not in there. Simply for it, with all the interpretation, they don't want to be there because of what's going on right now. So, um, Biden extended the amount of time to take out these civilians, but at the same time, he's allowing more boots on the ground. It's not an order of boots on the ground, but there are still um, armed forces in that conflict area, and he extended the time for those people to be there on their over their allotted time. And I think it's just that, like, are we arguing whether we should still be there extracting people out, or should we have stayed there at the beginning and fought them off, or should we have left without taking any civilians? There's a lot
Well,
of questions out there. The
let me
thing
ask you
is,
that. Let me ask you this.
okay.
Why do you think we're there in in the first place?
Oh, that's another 20, 30 minutes of
Keep it real
that's
short.
another
Though.
20.
Mhm. Just your straightforward one sentence answer.
Straightforward, one sentence answer. We should still be there.
Yeah, but I asked you why we're there in the first place.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got distracted. Oh, why are we there in the first place? To counterbalance communism, and communism was just a face plate of Russian influence, Soviet influence, and we just couldn't stand that we had another superpower doing the same exact thing that we were doing. So what we were doing in Vietnam is what they did in Afghanistan, and we did so rightfully so every which way we could. So the thing is that what happened in Afghanistan was what the Russians were invading Afghanistan. So the United States supplemented a lot of that regional area with armament, and a lot of people are being mad. They're getting mad of that today when that happened 30 years ago. Let's get over the fact that this country didn't have any armament as far as muskets and horseback. So when we supplemented them with armament and artillery, you shouldn't be complaining that they're going to use this shit against us, you motherfuck. Okay? So that's the notion of the people from the 70s and the 80s. Now that we're in the 2000s and the 2020s, we're going through the same thing over the same country. And this country has changed how much? I mean, can you argue to me that this country has grown or has it belittled? It's your opinion. But the reason why we were there was to fight another person's war when it was simply not their war. We went over there to fight the Soviets in spite of communism, and they came over there spreading communism. But instead of fighting the war and helping the Afghans, we promoted what you would call capitalism.
Well, that's a very interesting conclusion. Even though we were already within NATO and we're already kind of in truce with the communists, so I
Well,
can't say that's the
NATO.
actual real reasons, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, with NATO, we established sanctions, and with NATO, you have a supplemental you have a supplemental entity that is governing alongside the governments of
But
every government. So
that includes like communist countries, right?
that includes socialist countries
Right.
and
So
rightist countries, and the UN is a plethora of all these countries. So instead of us saying that we're
so when you're saying we're fighting communism, who are these communists that we're in agreement with and now we're fighting?
in the 70s when we were
No, I mean like
fighting.
today. We're talking current events.
Okay, so if we're talking today, we know that communism is almost non-existent, but the interpretations of
Huh?
communism exist in socialism and economics and things to where we're not fighting the same enemy that we did 20, 30 years ago. We have enemies that we need to fight today. Well, who are these enemies? Young kids that shop at Vans, or Taliban extremists who have access to Apache helicopters?
Hmm.
This is the thing. We do not know because we are the new. You know, instead of me being a little fat kid that playing computers, now I'm an outstanding gentleman who makes money in taxes and who has the ability to vote. But at what point do I really distinguish myself as a peacekeeping, world changing entrepreneur of philanthropy? We cannot do so without money. And this is where you get political figures in. These political figures influence governmental statutes, and that's how you create regimes or political standpoints, or how you could say political parties, in order to enact power over the states of territory. And that's government, Freddie. That's government. This has happened way before you could even spell communism. This has been the plot, the role, the scheme of everyone which who has been out there and so forth thou. So for us to say, oh, I don't like plastics being made here, you have no idea what's going on behind the geopolitical or socioeconomical or stratificationally indigestive positions. I might have sounded like a moron a few minutes ago, but 20 minutes ago, I sound like a genius. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because every single citizen needs to act like this. I am not the new. I am not the norm. I am the regular. We need to question what is happening out there. And you, sir, are promoting this action in a way that it needs to be viral because this is the way of living.
Well, check this out. This was the most surprising news. Is that look at this one. Oh, Snapples. Have you seen this one?
The wall.
Yeah. There's countries building walls to just like not be involved with this when it's almost like they themselves, like I think one of them was Greece and the other one was Turkey. um I don't know if Turkey's Soviet or like communist. uh no, they're Republican, they're a free Republican, but
They are a free republic, just like Croatia and Tunisia, Bosnia. They're all Eastern European states who have been granted stewardship and free sovereignty from the USSR.
isn't it crazy, like they just don't want to be involved with this at all when as a republic they should be fighting off like the Taliban, but I guess
Well,
that
that
agreement hasn't been made or something.
that would. I'm sorry, Freddie, or I'm sorry, Nim. I'm sorry, Nim on Sapari or to Iskritari.
I
But
speak Russian.
you would, you would insinuate what's happening with Texas and Illinois. We have different sovereign states, and everything you've been saying can only conclude that Texas and New Hampshire can implement certain doctorates or implements of judicial power just as much as you can in Europe. The only thing is that Americans are too downright dirty to get downright and dirty, and they especially will not do so, especially if it's amongst each other. And sadly, that's how France proliferated themselves. France is one of the largest countries. France is one of the largest countries that had the most
No, it's not.
insurrections. Huh?
France is a large country. France.
France is a large country. If you look at the span of it, you see its influence. It's one of the largest countries in comparison to Belfast, Nigeria, Nova Scotia, and even Germany. I think France is bigger than Germany by a few candies.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay, so why is it that that country so small has yet to be governed by any other people? It's only because they whiplash and smack themselves with revolution, and the people in France govern the govern the governation. France is one of the only countries that actually do so.
I think one of the biggest countries in Europe. I think that's what you mean.
No, no, no. One of the countries that actually governs themselves as far as the majority, because France, instead of fighting everyone else, they fight each other, and they have revolts, they have revolutions. So France might have the potential to be governed by a lot of other places, but France by itself is in fact a hegemony of self-control
I
because the
think France is
people
probably they're probably controlled by Europe. I would say, or the the British.
and true as far as like governing and sanctioning UN political boundaries, but as a country, I think France has been the most successful as far as self-controlling or self-maintaining. They've had so many kings and queens and prostrates and all that stuff, but yet they maintain a majority of the mainland
Yeah, but the
within
majority
the
of like
Cape.
they're usually married to dukes and like they're usually with European just to hold that peace. That's as far as I know in history. That's usually what they did. So
But that was
even then,
that was after the fall of Rome.
no, I know, but that's what I mean. There had to have been like a little integration there, where I think France is France, but it's probably controlled by a family related to more like a European descent
So
or British.
The Rome's created a wall in the form of countries, whereas China created a frontier in the form of mountains, topped with what you would see as the Great Wall. So now you, pseudonym, you posting this picture of these 5 meter long boundaries along the coast of Baja California and Mexico, uh, is this just a waste of money? Making these walls along the United States on the southern border, is that just a waste of money? When we know that people can cross and obviously deter these things, I think it was just a waste of money. And the person that did that was a businessman.
You know what? That's I actually thought about that the other day, and I think it's a little unfair because a lot of people try to blame Trump, and it's like if you think about it,
A lot of people, a lot
he
of
never
people,
actually built a wall. He actually didn't do anything.
no,
I think it was just a campaign measure, but I don't think he actually is to blame for putting up walls that were already there, and
No,
obviously
he
the fact that
initiated he initiated a lot of these things, and it's certain proof that some of these parts of the walls are not uh, connected. It's because he had different entities in making these walls. There is
I
no
think
solid there is no solid wall amongst the southern border of the United States. All it is a few projects that a whole bunch of Hispanics had to do and watch other Hispanics default against this because it was just a silly operative. All this stuff could have been done to help the aerospace infrastructure or even Hispanic Mexican relations. We didn't need to build this wall. This wall was inaccurate, stupid, and honestly a disgrace amongst human beings.
interesting, interesting. But let's see. Well, how long are we in? We're 20 minutes in. 30 minutes in. 20 minutes into current events. Talking about Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, here we go. We got a lot of people. They're
Yeah,
invading because the Taliban. Well, first of all, it's not that the Taliban invaded the capital of Kabul.
they did.
It's
That was the whole. They did. What are you talking about?
no,
That's
you
what the
have to
news
no,
was about.
you have to look at it. The Afghanistani regime, the military, they single-handedly surrendered to the Taliban.
So you just made my point.
I don't know what point you made, but the thing is that the Taliban didn't take control by force, even though it was implemented on the newsreels. Um,
So there were no guns used. There were no heavily charged. This photo is complete hoax. I see what you're saying, Julian. I see what you're saying.
no, you have to listen. It was
I'm
given.
listening.
The
I'm listening.
state of Afghanistan was given to the people of the Taliban, who is a religious sect who follow on prospects of Mujahideen, and they are not a terrorist group. They are simply a cultural deviant.
Oh no, you're gonna get this stream demoted. So Taliban is not a terrorist group. Is that what you said, Julian?
The Taliban has been there.
Oh, dude.
Can we go back to Russia, or did you just forget about that? Do you want me to go back and prove you wrong? Do you
No,
want
you're
me
just.
to? Okay, let me go back. 1984. Russia has been overwhelming the Afghani people with the mechanized tanks, weaponry, and the Spetsnaz. And you know what the Afghani people had? Bolt action rifles and horseback mounted cavalries. You know what the United States? The United States supplemented this army with something. Not weapons, not state of the art technology, but a group. And this group of people who have been there and who have been religiously coincide with the proliferation of the outstanding belief which is within Afghanistan being taken over by the Soviets. Thank you very much. Never forget. The United States helped them with how? Stinger missiles. These Stinger missiles can target tanks, volleys of troops, and let's not forget helicopters, jets. The United States gave the Afghanistan people the technology to fight off the threat that was the Soviet Union. Let us not forget. And who was the leading person of that group? Of the Taliban? The newly founded force to fight off the Soviets? Oh, let's not forget. What's his name? Osama bin Laden. Who by which state was not even Afghani delinquents. He was Syrian. He's not even Afghani. He's fighting a war for a country that needs their help against the Soviet Union using United States technology. This sounds like Aladdin and Fox and the Hound all over again. 20 years later, guess what? The Taliban now has military grade weaponry to fend themselves off from anyone out there.
Well, Julian, the whole point is that even though you're telling me the Taliban had weapons because of this, you're telling me that they didn't take it by force when you just told me they have guns and all this stuff because of all the history. And then you told me that they didn't take it by force. Well, now you're telling me that they're in the prime position to take it because they have these weapons, Julian. They have
What are
these
they taking,
weapons.
Freddy? What are they taking with these weapons? It seems like they're taking back their home state. Yes. Yes. Peak game, Freddy. Right now, Afghanistan is fighting a holy war, and now this holy war is being fought with themselves, and the United States is being dubbed responsible for all of us watching this little bay arena of
But
conflict.
that goes against the whole point of you saying that we should not retrieve our troops from Afghanistan because Biden made a good choice, right? So listen to me, Julian. We are on live 26 minutes in 34 seconds of Taliban news. I think at this point it's a good time to move on to the next current event.
I think we need to take a pause. Give me a 5 second pause. I need to urinate and clear my thoughts because I'm scared. Here we go. I'm taking a pause. We're still here. Well, hello. Pseudonym is muted.
Oh yes, here we are. Oh no, damn it.
Hello, friend. Have you lost your marbles? Oh, there he is. Whoa. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's Freddy Cinema.
What the hell is this? Get out of here. Mm-hmm. No smoking.
Oh, shit. Yellow. Here.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you.
Apples.
We're here. We're establishing
Oh, I see what happened. Hold on, give me a second.
telecommunications.
No, there's one too. I couldn't got it. How was
Okay.
how was your stream, sir?
We're streaming.
No, I said how was your stream?
What stream?
We went to the bathroom. It was a joke.
Ah ha ha. Aha.
How's a? But yes, Julian, we are 35 minutes in. We've gone through a lot of Afghan politics stuff. Are
Oh,
you down
yes.
to move on to the next current event?
Hell no, but yes, we are.
All right, all right. Next in the news is this. We're gonna get into this Delta variant. Julian Uribe.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Hopefully,
snap.
here we go. Let's go. Let's get into it. What are we going to talk about?
Current events, Julian. Did you know that they're restricting people from going to certain places if you don't have your COVID vaccine? What?
This
What?
is intercontinental. So that means if you hold a passport, you could still not travel outside the U.S. Correct?
Correct.
Can you still travel within the states?
Very hard to say. I don't know. I think that depends on the state, maybe. I actually haven't looked that one up. But that is current events. Because I know that you can't go to uh, certain hospitals anymore without showing proof of vaccination. Uh,
That is very local, especially in LA County.
Schools. I don't know. Do schools require? I know probably like colleges might require it, but I can't say.
From what I've learned is that you need a form of proof that you've been inoculated or proof that you have tested negative within the past 72 hours. So for people who are opting for that option, you'd have to get you'd have to get tested every week in order for you to maintain your job or continue school if you opt out of taking the vaccine. Now, somebody informed me that, hey, we had to take vaccines. Am I coming up live right here? Am I showing up right here? We have to be live. Freddie? We have to be in correspondence with these illnesses. We got vaccinated a long time ago when we were kids. And we dropped it off and we felt like it was nothing else, right? Okay. So now we have to vaccinate our children. And this is the new realm of vaccination. Pardon my French. So where do we set ourselves? Where do we put ourselves as far as responsibility? Do we get our kids vaccinated? Do we make sure the law is regulating on these vaccinations? The question is yes. The question is that we do all of the above. The only thing is, as us as millennials, we're being faced with this pandemic because it is an exercise. This has happened millions and millions of times over and over, especially with the black plague. I'm sorry, typhus, jaundice, gonorrhea. All these viruses went out, and we all got tested, and we all got cured, and we all got inoculated. But as far as children, we only had to get TB tested and vaccinated for HPV, as far as I believed. Now we have COVID.
Actually, when you're a kid, you get at least I think like 6 different vaccines.
Oh yeah, I believe I only received like maybe three. It was TB, um, HPV. What is HPV?
Herpes virus.
Papillomavirus. Um, typhus. And I think all the
Anywho,
yeah we
I
all
don't know what you're getting with this.
mhm. Yeah we all got inoculated when we were younger. I think people are just making a bullshit agreement of like we got vaccinated a long time ago. This shouldn't be new. This is new stuff. The only thing that is scaring us is the severity of corona. Now, whether I believe corona was created by 5G or in a lab in China, it doesn't matter. I biochemically understand what a virus is, and virus vaccines do not hurt. They don't hurt. Vaccines are like admissions into the movies.
So why
They
haven't you
don't
taken your COVID
hurt.
vaccine? Why haven't you taken your COVID vaccine, Dylan?
Well, like I said, like you don't need a ticket to see the show. Oh yeah, oh yeah, buddy. Because I already got inoculated with the COVID vaccine. You know how I did it? Naturally. I went out there and I got ha.
But you're missing the current event topic. You were talking about the Delta virus.
That means I probably got exposed to Delta variant. And I'm like, ha. Freddie, when I die of the COVID variant Delta, then you could say, oh, he was a fool. But when I live and I'm not inoculated, I would just be a standing point that inoculations not only work, but they're not necessary.
What the? Yeah. Anywho, so there are a couple. Oh, Snapples. What do you feel about states banning COVID vaccines? As, aside from what everything you just said,
That's not right.
because apparently Arkansas, Montana, and South Carolina are actually banning
Are they
and
banning mandated vaccines or all vaccines in general?
mandated vaccines.
There we go. So that means vaccines are allowed in those states.
Hmm.
So as far as news goes, you could still get vaccinated in those states. Let us clear that out because fake news, real news, will sometimes come into interjection of actual news.
Julian, you laid down four contradictions in one sentence in like a 30-second time span. Think about this, man. You're saying COVID vaccines
I
are
just
good
want
to.
you to know I just want you to know what kind of people are out there. I want you to know what kind of people are out there running things.
That's just too
Some
vague. I'm talking about
some
current events.
like
Who?
oh I'm sorry, sir. I ran out of booze.
That's the
I,
worst
w-
thing that could happen right now.
I wish there was a way I could transfer this discussion onto my phone. And I would just go outside and take a smoke of the cigarette. But see, all this shit that I've been saying, it doesn't mean shit if I go outside and smoke a cigarette. Do you understand? I could talk a whole mess on why the world should be a better place, and when I'm done talking, I just go outside and have sex with a hooker and smoke cigarettes and kill my lungs. This is ignorance of bliss, Freddy. You have to understand. This happens on every tier, every level, every aspect of human individuality. So, what we see is right, what we deem as right, and what we constitute as right and lawful, it was only built up by people who fucking suck.
So we are completely off topic, so we might have to end this broadcast and start a new podcast of just podcasting.
Well, if you want to still go on about Afghanistan, let me just insinuate that we still have cargo ships, not air fighters or supporters.
No, Joel,
We're
we were on the topic of coronavirus, and then we went on the topic of people, and then we went on the topic about knowing
okay. So
people
this
and smoking
coronavirus.
cigarettes. So,
Okay, so
y-
this coronavirus. If we're bringing people from Afghanistan on our United States ships,
One
I
time.
mean, out of those 600, 700 people on those airplanes, who's testing them for corona? Huh? We're gonna take all these refugees, but who's the one that's gonna be like, hey, where's your COVID? Where's your access pass? Hello? Oh, you should have fell off the plane. Okay? You didn't have your COVID shot. You should have stayed in that. You see this stupid and congestible gesture of juxtaposition. Like you could have took in any snippet of what I just said, and I could be deemed a horrible person because what I'm saying is true. A lot of people on those planes might have COVID, and who's gonna test those people on COVID when they're rushed onto the plane? And now we have Afghan COVID. Tell me that's not gonna be a next bud strain. I want that
Could be,
COVID. I want that Afghan COVID strain. I want
could
that
be, could,
Afghan COVID Kush.
could be. But we are 50 minutes in. We're gonna go and end this broadcast. I will send you a link for another podcast that we can just talk all kinds of
I yeah okay.
malarkey.
So yeah, we will talk about this malarkey. You're gonna give me like 10, 15 minutes so I can smoke a stogie, cause I smoke a stogie wherever I want, and I know you could do that too, Freddie Meister. I will conclude this and say that hey, listen, everyone. We all have differences. This is inviting into what we call a grand discourse. And this discourse amongst a grand majority of people is what we can call politics. That's all I want people to know is that we have a grand majority of people talking about the vast majority of people into this small combine or commune of regression. So listen, pseudonym, we have an objective, and this objective is to link everyone into this cordial invitation of what the rest of humanity needs to do. And we're only going to find that on the next input of pseudonym. Give me 15 minutes. Yeah,
Oh
boys,
my god.
out. Yup.